As we get into today's lesson of self-talk, right? And you might think, well, we just talked about anchor phrases last week. Now we're talking about self-talk. Maybe what's the difference, or whatever you may think, right? The difference is that anchor phrases is a version of self-talk, right? Anchor phrases are what some people would call like affirmations, or certain specific words that you tell yourself to project a certain feeling, or get into a certain feeling, or get into a certain mind space, mental space. Self-talk is everything that you think, everything that you talk to yourself about, right? So when I think about talking to myself, it's something that I don't want to try to do. It's something that you want to catch yourself doing. Okay, so if you typically have negative thoughts after an error, right? You make an error and you're thinking, you look in the stands, you see people that are maybe you think they're talking about you, or you look over to the dugout and you think your coach is like, what are you doing? You begin to have thoughts based off looking around, right? Or you look at the umpire and maybe he said something, or you look at your teammate and he's like, bro, come on. Like, you start to think thoughts based off what you're seeing, okay? And that's the self-talk that we have to try to recognize, so then we can insert the anchor phrase, if that makes sense. And then once you begin to recognize when you start to have negative thoughts, you can then practice always speaking to yourself positively, okay? It's never going to be perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. But the way you talk to yourself the majority of the time dictates how you think a majority of the time. If you think negative thoughts a majority of the time, you're going to have a negative outlook a majority of the time. If you tell yourself positive thoughts, if you see the world positively, then a majority of the time you're going to be a positive person, okay? That's the part of it where the self-talk encompasses everything, okay? And I hope that made sense. I hope you guys can understand that. But self-talk is the overarching everything. Become aware of how you respond to things, so then you can monitor your self-talk, insert anchor phrases when it's necessary, and learn when you need to start talking to yourself, how you can begin to start talking to yourself positively, okay? That was a lot there. Rewatch that one back. Maybe slow it down, maybe take notes, but there's a lot of good in there, okay? Have a great day.